For those of you who have not had the privilege to hear him speak yet, I'm honored to introduce him to you today. Saladin Allah is an early childhood educator, author, and the third great-grandson of famed Underground Railroad freedom seeker Josiah Henson, whom Harriet Beecher Stowe used as the primary narrative for her famous 19th century novel, Uncle Tom's Cabin. Saladin is the founder of the Atlantis School for Gifted Youngsters and the author of 23 books. 5 are part of a curatorial activism archive in the British Library. He is a featured historian in the 2019 IMAX film Into America's Wild, narrated by Morgan Freeman, and a featured historian in the 2020 award-winning docuseries Enslaved, executive produced by and starring Samuel L. Jackson. Saladin is a featured educator in a 2022 United Nations outreach program on the transatlantic slave trade and slavery video, a featured historian in Secrets on the Border, the Nature of Things CBC documentary directed by Adrian Callender, and a producer and featured historian of the Buffalo and Erie County Naval Park exhibit and documentary Two Wars, The Road to Integration. Saladin is the director of the Atlantis School for Gifted Youngsters, director of community engagement at the Niagara Falls Underground Railroad Heritage Center, public art coordinator for the Niagara Falls National Heritage Area, a machine inspector for the Niagara County Board of Election, and a human rights commissioner in the city of Niagara Falls, New York. Today he will be presenting The Power of Cultural Competency, about boldly traversing cultural borders and exploring the value of diversity in a changing global landscape. Welcome back, Saladin.
Thank you. I got you. Yeah. First, I want to say thank you, the UUEA family, for welcoming me back. All the guests who are here as well, and then also our guests who are here on Zoom joining us as well. I got to give a special shout out to my stylist, Anusha. She's my 4-year-old daughter, and she picked this out for me this morning, and I'm glad that she picked this instead of my because I had my Chippendale costume and my Black Panther costume laid out, and she chose this instead. So that's pretty cool. When I was sharing this event on social media, I went to your Facebook page, and I had a chance to look at it, and I looked, and I saw like some mad faces on like the promotional materials, and I tell you, my first thought was, I bet you it's some rednecks attached to those red angry faces on those emojis, right? But then my second thought was like, what are you mad about? You know, like you think about it, and it's like you have people, our citizens, who would actually come to a angry conclusion about, I'm not sure, was it because I'm a Black man? Is it because of my name? Is it because of your institution hosting me? You know, it could be a variety of different things, but people actually took the initiative to come to that conclusion about this. They don't know me. They have no clue what I'm getting ready to talk about, but yet that was their conclusion. And I think it's important to point out that this is really the level of ignorance that we have to confront. We have to confront this level of ignorance. Now, some people, they may just look at it as kind of innocuous, like, oh, it's just, people trolling and, but usually when you see ignorance, they have their 2 twin siblings that's hanging out with them. And that's indifference and apathy. And that's the danger with that type of attitude. Because when a person has that type of perspective towards you, they don't even know you. Then they probably have that type of perspective towards your family members, your other community members. And when you include their siblings in that equation, indifference and apathy, this is the type of posture that will allow anything to happen to someone, because they're that disconnected from you and taking that type of stance, So I wanted to make sure that I addressed that, just initially, and just to point out that, this is what we're actually dealing with, So as I was mentioned, I'm going to be speaking about cultural competence, and this is going to be an interactive discussion. You know, I'm not just going to get up here and lecture, but I'm going to ask you some perspectives on some of the things that, you know, you think, and willfully some of the people that were angry when they saw this event are actually online and they're watching and they could actually learn something at the same time. So, ready?